Chapter 41. Solutions, Problems, Solutions. This is the best I could do, Master. It's more than enough, thank you. I answered after a yawn, sitting at a table in the dining room, wearing nothing but a loose robe, enjoying the breakfast of bread, ham, and some boiled eggs. Luna was already ready with the food by the time I slipped out of our bedroom, while Sasha was still sleeping with a satisfied smile hanging on her lips. I made some tea from what I found, but the kitchen is sorely lacking the components I am used to. The tea leaves were subpar, only worthy to be served in some inn at the docks. We are a bit poorer, but that will change. Write down what you need now, and I will order it through my uncle. I still need to get myself some coffee beans anyway. Still, I think this place has its charms. How was your first night? Exciting? Even though my question was asked leisurely, I saw her face go pink as she turned around, acting as if she was doing something else. Yes, it was adequate. I need time to get used to it, but come, everything will be fine. Don't worry, Master. That's good to hear. Today I will mostly stay in. I have a ton of writing to do. You can spend the day with Sasha. She will continue showing you around, and you can start picking people out to train as your helpers. Thank you, Master. After I was finished with breakfast, I headed to my office, which was, in fact, my personal library. Sitting down at my desk, enjoying the warm autumn sun shining through the open window, I began copying the pages in my memories related to the magic formation I wanted to work on. While a mage may need intense concentration in drawing one up, it was like tracing lines for me. My mind's eyes projected it onto the paper, and I just had to follow the lines, drawing them from memory easily. I couldn't be happier as this, even in my previous life, immensely helped me, especially on the front lines. Combat engineers had to make repairs on the battlefield, and with an enhanced brain, I didn't need to look up schematics, as I remembered them all. My mind quickly transformed the knowledge into images I could use to complete repairs during an engagement. I just hoped I wouldn't manifest any symptoms that could accompany such an ability, like beginning to conjure people up and talking with them when they don't really exist. I saw some colleagues of mine fall into it, breaking under pressure and seeing things that didn't exist. At least I'm in no danger, I murmured, stretching and massaging my wrists after finishing the 10th page. This is going to be extra tiring. I will have to invent the typewriter, huh? The moment our industry is ready to produce fine metalworks, I will build one. Which means I will need to invent papermaking, as I guess my region can't do that. Ugh, damn it. More work. When will I get to just sit back and enjoy a martini with Sasha? Shit, we don't even have martinis. What is a typewriter? Or who is this martini guy? Asked a curious voice, and when I looked behind me, Luna was there, looking at my works with a curious yet amazed expression. I could see my reflection in her mismatched eyes, making me smile. It is a machine that helps writing. Also, it speeds up the process and eliminates the need to read my awful handwriting. And martini is a drink, not a person. I see. And Master, your writing isn't that bad. She chuckled but turned a bit troubled again. Is this magic? Why are you drawing magic circles? You can't understand it if you are not a mage. Who told you that? I can understand it just fine. I harumphed, making her flinch, watching me doubtfully. First things first, the outer circle in this formation is borrowed from a water-based spell, while the second circle forms a purifying spell. I say purifying, but it is nothing more than a filtration system. You are just trying to sound cool, she challenged me, not believing my words at all. Everyone knows that only mages can understand it. And if you were a mage, you wouldn't be here. I am not a mage, yes, but the first part is utter bullshit. This formation is pure logic. First, it initiates a water spell, then the second round takes the sample and applies its structure as its base, down to the molecular level. Huh? I'm not finished. The second circle analyzes it. While it is active, any other water going through it will be forced to match the sample. Do you see what I am getting at? I am not a mage. I don't understand any of it. She moaned, her hands on her hips, shaking her head as if I was some kind of lost lunatic. It has nothing to do with being a mage or not. It's pure logic. If the formation is ordered to match the new input with the first one, it will do just that. eliminating everything else until what remains is clean water. Of course, I am not saying it will be perfect. I will need live testing and modifications according to how it goes. The problem is that the formations could only be active indefinitely if a witch is there, and I can't make Sasha stay there. I will need to get myself CC once again. I continued murmuring to myself, biting on the end of my quill, missing the fact that Luna turned white, her mouth hanging open and her eyes doubling in size. Master, what do you mean? She stuttered, poking me with her fingers after I didn't speak anymore. Huh. She didn't tell you. Sasha is a witch. Also, my Prime Minister, Merlin, is a wizard. Duh. Hold me. Huh? I flinched and grabbed her at the last moment as she fainted right into my arms. Are you always this dramatic? These shouldn't be that big of a news. The first testing happened a few days later. Besides Luna, Merlin also came along, excited about watching it happen. I told him over and over again to control his emotions and not let his magic interfere with the experiment. It will be simple. While preparing a linen cloth and painting the formation onto it, I explained what I was expecting to happen. I will seal the opening of the tube where we have nasty brown water and flip it. If this works as expected, what will come out won't be brown but perfectly clear and safe to drink. Let's see. Merlin clapped, barely blinking his eyes, while Luna was still flabbergasted, hardly believing I had a wizard and a witch helping me. Okay, Sasha, your turn. I nodded at her, and when she focused, I saw the cloth flash once. But then it went dormant. Did I make a mistake, or was this how it was supposed to be? Holding the meter-long tube, I slowly turned it around, keeping it above a mug, and to my relief, it functioned as expected. What came out of it was crystal clear water. It works, Merlin shouted, jumping high while laughing, and I couldn't help but share his joy. It really did. After taking off the cloth, only stinky, slimy sludge remained behind, while in the mug, the water was clear, odorless and tasteless after taking a cautious sip. It was, by my guess, perfectly distilled water. Not that I could be sure of it without any modern measuring tools or a microscope, but my gut was telling me I was right. Let me see. Merlin rushed close, copying me and dipping his tongue into the cup while I refilled the tube with another round of dirty water and repeated the experiment. Even with the sludge being kept inside of it, the end result was the same: clean water. After the third attempt, it finally broke as the fabric, or more precisely, the formation on it, got damaged and no longer functioned. I don't get it. Luna spoke up, watching Merlin take off the now ruined textile, studying it. With this, Sasha explained instead of me, the sewage won't be simply flooded onto an empty field. And, Luna questioned, still not seeing its importance, it is half a solution. I interjected, thinking, scratching my chin. For one, I can collect the sewage and reuse it. The clean water won't go back into the system as drinking water, but it could give us an extra source of it for our industry. Be it metalworks or anything that later on comes up, we don't need to draw water away from people's homes. We can have them use the recycled one. I just need to build new castellas to store it and connect it into special systems. What is the second half? Luna asked, tilting her head as her eyes traveled to the nasty sludge at the same time as Sasha's. Yep. I nodded, watching the two. Well, what it will mostly be is, well, shit. I have two ideas about that. On the one hand, we can compost it and use it to revitalize the fields when they are being rotated and help keep them healthy. That is the more complex part, as I will need people collecting it and supervising the composting procedure. If you can teach me, I can select people and establish a department to deal with it, Your Majesty. Merlin reacted immediately, bowing, making Luna twitch her eyebrows. Is he really a kid? No. The answer came from Sasha and me, while Merlin just laughed with a cheeky grin on his face. The second option, I continued looking at my wife, is to collect the sludge and then incinerate it. But that makes it so I need to develop another filter for the smoke and deal with that, which will result in more waste that needs to be disposed of and… I feel like Ouroboros. Who? They asked me, but I just waved a hand. I will write up a lesson about composting, Merlin. You can study it and then determine how to proceed, okay? Yes, And thank you, Your Majesty. Don't thank me yet. First, I must develop a method for installing this formation at the end of our sewer system. I need it to be sturdy, resist erosion, and function independently and indefinitely. The biggest problem is how am I going to make it work without making any of you live next to it? Ah, yeah, I murmured, furrowing my brows. I need CC. Without it, I won't be able to progress. Did you learn where it's coming from? Sasha asked, curious, and Merlin was already leaning in, waiting for my answer, not wanting to be left out. It is a natural resource, just like anything else, and it is being mined in the eastern part of the empire. That is why we annexed a big chunk of our neighbors there. They found a new vein in one of the mountains, I murmured, turning towards the endless mountain ranges dominating our horizon. I wonder if we have any here, hidden somewhere. Wouldn't they have exploited it already? Luna asked, bringing up a good point. If they are willing to wage war for it, you would think they would have scoured the mountains already. Do you know how wide this mountain range is? I asked her a different question. No. She pouted, thinking I was making fun of her. 11,000 kilometers long. I don't know what kilometers is. Never heard that word before. You just made that up. Her sudden outburst made her flinch, holding her mouth in fear before surprise washed over her as I wasn't angry. I wasn't even berating her. Well, yes, I did make that up, but it is what we use here. I will have to teach how it works. I cringed because she wasn't wrong. I did make it up, and I tend to forget the Empire had a different system in place. What I want to demonstrate to you is that this is a vast natural border, running along next to multiple empires and countries, not just ours. Searching for CC in this place requires tons of resources and manpower, which is then brought away from elsewhere. Why would they do that when they have already established mines, producing enough and also able to take it by force from others? The Empire acts according to nature's laws as it follows the path of least resistance. When their current sources run dry one day, sure, they will start digging up the mountains, but until then, it will be our job to find a vein, exploit it, and leave nothing for them. Chapter 42, Settling In. You called, my lord? Yes, Oleg, please sit. I smiled as he entered my study. Luna was already prepared and began serving tea for both of us. It seemed that she adapted very quickly, and besides peeping almost every night when I was having sex with Sasha, she was ready to fulfill her duties to the best of her abilities. Have you been thinking about establishing our core of the military, as I asked? I have been pondering it since you named me your general. Most of the trained soldiers will be needed to stay to guard the passage. That job is too important to draw people away permanently, so I can't ask for them. Father said he will let 100 people join me. They will be your commanders and officers, but I want you to establish a proper recruitment procedure. I examined the people, and there are some promising youngsters, but to be honest with you, my lord, they need a lifetime of work. They are not ready. My father was a soldier, the same as his. I have been training to become one since I was young. These people are not like our families, fighting beasts for centuries. I know that. I want you to read through this in your free time. I didn't have to stand up at all as Luna was already bringing a stack of documents, giving it to him while I remained sitting, sipping my tea. I watched calmly as he quickly scanned the first few pages, his eyebrows moving up and down, humming and nodding here and there. This will take a long time, my lord. I know, but being in the military will be a lifelong job, as described in my 19th law. They will be directly under your command, while you are under mine. They will need to study the art of war from an early age and must be instilled with loyalty, discipline, courage, and skill. I am still working out their pay and privileges, but I aim to set up a system that raises warriors and provides them with lifelong careers. Just as I will need someone to inherit my position, the same is true for you. My lord, he murmured, looking touched, raise proper soldiers, and you can name your successor one day. For that, they have to be well-trained and organized. Start with volunteers and make sure they are only given a pass after they go through the complete training process that I defined. My lord, the training methods you wrote here are fascinating. I think your father would be really interested in it. I already sent a copy to him earlier. He is slowly implementing them, but I want you to consider them right from the start while building up our military force. The first group doesn't need to be big, as I don't expect trouble to come knocking on our door. Not just yet. I will do my best, my lord. Make sure that those 100 who come to serve under me also understand it. Train them with these methods first to get a feel for it. Get them through 10 weeks of basic training. While you do that, the volunteered youngsters can concentrate on their studies. I want my soldiers to be literate, just like you. While Merlin teaches them the basic skills, you can continue with the AIT for the 100 Father gives us. AIT, he murmured, quickly flipping through the pages, finding it, Advanced Individual Training, teaching specific skills and knowledge for their future field. You know them the best, so try to give them the most suitable ranks and position. I detailed everything in my notes, and when you are finished setting up the officers, come back to me with a finalized list. I will conduct the PME myself. With another brief search, he quickly found the part about professional military education and my brief introduction to it. I was going to use my own experience as a basis to set up a new training regiment. First, I will need a completed list of who I have and what type of skill set they have for me to adjust and develop the best way to train them. What I didn't tell Oleg while watching him leave was that I would also experiment on those who volunteer. My goal was to make sure my future soldiers were fed with beast meat. I ran through the thousands of books in my head but found no information about whether they provide benefits or boons to people. I had to conduct my own investigation to see if they grew this big and strong because of the meat they ate, or if it was a genetic accident. Thank you, Luna. Come, sit down and eat with us. But, mistress. She stammered, but Sasha wasn't having it, and she quickly made her sit at our table. Don't be shy. I chuckled, enjoying the seasoning on my meat, happy with how professional Luna was in the kitchen. We still need to get a proper cook, but if she is this talented, I don't want to hire anyone else but her. This is excellent, Luna. I hope when you finally give me a list of who to hire, you will teach them these recipes. Yes, it is really delicious. I will need to learn it if I want to be a good wife. Mistress, nobles don't cook for themselves. That is the responsibility of their servants. But Sasha flinched, looking at me, feeling confused. I want to learn to make tasty foods for Leon. Luna, I smiled while leaning forward and feeding Sasha one of the juicy bits from my plate. Everybody needs a hobby. If my wife wants to learn cooking, please teach her. Yes, master, she answered, standing up and bowing immediately. When we are in private, I continued, watching her sit back, you don't need to be this formal. Call us by our names. That is improper. No. I was surprised at how vehemently she protested against the idea, and I exchanged a look with Sasha, deciding not to push it. Was this the effect of some kind of conditioning? I like the word master and mistress, she murmured, looking at her plate, starting to stuff her mouth with food, not daring to meet our eyes. I see. I think I was getting it. In the past weeks, I was starting to figure out my new maid. When I let her relax, she usually read a book, lazed around, and did nothing, becoming Sloth's avatar. When she was peeping and I was trying to listen to her, I could swear I caught some really hardcore words coming from behind our door. Was she a closeted pervert? All the clues were pointing towards that. When dinner ended, I returned to my room with Sasha while Luna took care of the dishes. After stoking the fire, I embraced her and sat down before the fireplace, gently rubbing her tummy. Winter is soon to be here. The days are getting really cold, she whispered, purring like a cat, happy to sit in my lap and enjoy the caressing. Yep, and there will be some things I want to try out when it happens. Oh, new magic formations? Oh, of course, they are related to fire, so it will be tailored for you. But what I wanted to talk about now is Luna. What is it? What do you think about her? She is really nice and hard-working. What? Did she do something weird? No, she didn't. I just have a feeling she doesn't show us her authentic self. When she is surprised or overwhelmed, she bursts out, speaking her true thoughts instead of what had been crammed into her head as etiquette. I want her to be more like that when she is with us. I want you to try to get closer to her and slowly demolish that wall. I want her to feel more free and at home. I don't think she truly settled in yet, even if she says otherwise. I never lived in a big city, but I guess it is really different, huh? Very much so. This city still lacks the liveliness of the capital, but that will gradually change. Until then, I want you to help her open up a bit. What do you say? Leave it to me. I always wanted a friend who was close to me in age. At that moment, watching her honest, childlike smile, I remembered Sasha had lived her whole childhood in fear and alone in the woods, always struggling to see another year. If not for her gift, she may have perished earlier. No wonder she was so clingy. She wanted a family. What? She asked, seeing me being lost in her eyes. I was thinking about us, and how nice it will be when you gift me an heir. That quickly did it as she turned redder than the fire warming the room, yet instead of complaining, she turned around, kissing and undressing me, blessing me with another passionate night. You really want to send me away? Yuri sniffed, her eyes watering up, giving me a hurt and puppy-like look. Stop it, I won't be fooled. I grunted in response, leaning closer, watching the sadness disappear from her eyes, replaced by a sudden impulse. I already knew I had made a mistake, but it was too late as she lunged at me and grabbed me by the neck before kissing me passionately, followed by her biting my lips. I tried pushing her off me, but she wasn't letting go, continuing kissing and biting. I could feel the taste of blood that mixed with our saliva gave me goosebumps. Shit. Did I like this? Finally, Oleg and the others reacted, pulling her off me and pressing her down until I waved a hand, signaling them to let her stand up. Ah, fuck, that was too short. She giggled, licking her lips and breathing heavily. Kneel. I commanded her and saw her shudder as she obeyed, looking up at me curiously. Open your mouth. I already knew that she was not just a masochist, but she loved the power play, having a distorted opinion about it. She wanted to be on the top, yet she couldn't help but rejoice when someone dominated her. Could I ever cure her? No, I don't think so. But I may mellow her out if I satisfy both of her desires. Like this? She asked with difficulty, keeping her mouth open, her tongue sticking out, and watching with enlarged eyes as I spit my blood and saliva into her mug. Kai ah. I think it may be the first time I heard her let out such a cute, girlish cry, both of her hands disappearing between her thighs. More, please. I will give you more, I answered, placing my hand on her head, rubbing it as if she were a puppy. But first, you need to prove you are not just a wild fuckdog. Got it? I need to trust you. Do you know what I value most? Pussy? No, I said with complete honesty, maintaining eye contact with her. Money? No. Power? No. Fuck, then what? She pouted but never took her eyes off of mine. Loyalty. Simple as that. Prove me you can be loyal through thick and thin. Then I will consider giving you more. To my surprise, she didn't reply this time, but she also no longer pouted or complained about the mission I was giving her and her team. I am sending you because you can travel through borders between our regions unhindered. Don't cause trouble for my uncle, got it? He has his hands full right now with reconstructing his court after killing Piggy. I want you to go along their borders and scout the neighboring counties. If you rob someone you can't deal with, I will abandon you, got it? Yes. I hope so. Your goal is to make contact with the regional underground organizations. Until I find my own CC mine, I need a source. You will get me that, and in turn I will reward you. With what? She asked, wiggling her butt as if wagging her tail. Depends on your performance. We will see. Just make sure the magic formations I entrust you are only given over after you get the CC. Got it? No problem, boss, she laughed, standing up, repeating everything I told her. I remember what you said. I know that CC is always 1 kilogram. I won't be swindled with your handy scale at my side, and this won't be my first rodeo. 1.5. Don't get swindled. Now go. I expect good news from you by spring. Chapter 43. Sasha and Luna. It was a warm autumn day, maybe the last one before winter began knocking for real. Luna had already finished all the laundry and was lazing in her room, lying on her bed, reading a manuscript she borrowed from Leon, enjoying the fantastic story about flying giant machines fighting against each other. He should publish a book, she murmured, fascinated by the strange world her master came up with in his story. Thinking about Leon, she couldn't help but remember how he had mounted his wife the previous night, going at it for a whole hour, changing his rhythm multiple times. I'm sure he knows I'm watching. Ha! She was about to let her hand wander downwards after recalling it, just when a loud knocking interrupted her. Yes, she yelped, sitting up straight, watching her mistress enter the room. Am I disturbing you? Sasha asked with a kind voice, looking at her in a way that made Luna uncomfortable. Not because she didn't like it. No, it was the opposite. It made her want to act like a friend towards her mistress, which was complete nonsense. She was a maid while Sasha was her owner. Being a servant to a noble family didn't allow such thoughts to fester in one's mind. No, mistress, she hurriedly answered, climbing off the bed and fixing her wrinkled uniform, which was getting loose as she was ready to have a little midday fun time. I was thinking of going to the city, and I was curious if you would come with me. The city, so sure. It was still weird, moving away from the capital city that was one of the wonders of the world, and starting a new life in the most remote, barbarian land of all. Barbarian. She couldn't really say that anymore, not after witnessing this newly built city that, although pristine and marvelous looking, was still just a husk. A lifeless copy. It was missing what made the capital a place to never forget. Life. People here were still just illiterate village folk, barely filling half of the city, and in Luna's mind, it was like throwing pearls before a swine. Where do you want to go? She asked, pushing down her thoughts and sighing. She exited the palace beside Sasha, watching the straight, wide roads and clean, painted stone houses. These streets should be filled with people, merchants, guild members, street urchins, nobles, and anything else that makes a city a city. Instead, she saw nobody, as most people were working on building the walls outside the city. A new shop has been built up. Merlin said it is the first bakery in the city, opened by his parents, and I want to try it out. A bakery? She asked, tilting her head, not expecting much, even if it was from the young genius's parents. If anybody creeped her out the most, it was Merlin. How he spoke and acted was in stark contrast to how he looked, and she couldn't get used to it. Walking down the pristine street, they passed by multiple houses painted white and gold, giving the city a majestic feeling. When they turned left onto a bit narrower street, they passed by a two-story building that was multiple blocks long, and atop its main double-sided gate, a huge sign was hung up, displaying a parchment and quill. This is the school, yes? Luna asked before thinking, letting her thoughts slip out. Wandering past it multiple times previously, she was curious about what it was like inside, but had yet to step through its door. Yes, I think Merlin is in now, teaching the children how to read and write. I know that in the evenings it is Oleg who occupies it with his volunteers. Teaching the children. How are they paying for it? Tuition is expensive, and I can't see how simple village people could afford it. Is it? Sasha asked, surprised, placing a finger on her lips before continuing. Well, it is free here. Free? Leon made it so that every child must learn reading, writing, and calculating. So it is free but mandatory. I know that Merlin is working to select teachers to help him out, and already has assistants in training. I never heard about doing it like this, Luna whispered, trying to wrap her head around something being free. Ah, here we are. With a laugh, Sasha quickly held on to Luna's hand, pulling her forward and breaking into a short run. The shop's structure differed from the others as they were permitted to change it to serve as a home and a bakery simultaneously. Its front was authorized to have a little terrace where people could sit down and enjoy tea or coffee while eating what they had just bought. The insides were also reconstructed as they had their own oven and anything they needed to bake all the different pastries they came up with, while a staircase led upstairs in the back, where the family had their living quarters. Sasha was lying to Luna as it wasn't her first time here. She and Leon visited before the official opening, overseeing the finishing works. He even mentioned how impressed he was with Merlin's parents as they proved to be natural bakers. Still, Sasha didn't have any other ideas to get closer to her maid, turning her from a servant to a friend, than to invite her to a place she knew about. If Luna could have read her mind, she would have found it astonishing, because Sasha was so nervous that her hands were shaking. It was her first time trying to make a friend, as the people regarded her as some kind of leader back in the forest, even more so now. No one dared to get too close to her since childhood, as she was capable of magic, giving her a status that was more than a simple human. Until meeting Leon, she only knew about how to interact with others from what she picked up when listening to the other vagrants hiding in the old logging site. "Come on, Sasha, keep it together," she murmured in her head, still holding Luna's hand as they walked into the bakery. "We will eat some cookies, try out Leon's new imported drink, that coffee thing, and talk. It will work, and we will make our first girlfriend." Friend. Yes, not girlfriend, that would be weird. "Welcome. Ah, Sasha, come. We just pulled out a new kind of cookie from the oven. It is made with the thing Leon imported called chocolate. We don't have much, but we wanted to send a few samples to the palace anyway." The way Merlin's mother welcomed them in was anything but ordinary for Luna. The way simple civilians dared to address their ruler shocked her, and the fact that Sasha just giggled like a child and thanked her profusely was even worse. She didn't want them to see her wrinkle her brows, so instead she turned her head, surveying the inside of the shop. She was looking at the multiple woven baskets filled with loaves of bread, buns, and crescent rolls, letting their pleasant scent tickle her nose. "Someone is hungry," Sasha chuckled, nudging her, holding a tray with the food and drinks, almost making Luna jump out of her skin. Mistress, this is my job," she yelled and was horrified that she had forgotten herself, and because of that, it was Sasha who was bringing the food out and serving it up, not her. "It's okay, let's sit down. I want to try out this drink Leon likes so much, because I know it wasn't cheap importing it. Oh, and I heard your tummy rumble. Ahaha. Come, let's go." "It did not do that," she protested, but her stomach countered her at once, giving out a loud noise of complaint, making Sasha giggle once again. After finally sitting down and tasting the pretty big cookie, both of them let out a happy moan at the same time. While Luna was going red in the face because of it, Sasha could barely contain her happiness. She finally felt like she made progress and was close to having her first actual friend. "It is tasty, isn't it? Leon said that he never thought to eat something so good." "It is good," Luna murmured, honestly surprised as she had to admit this bakery in the middle of nowhere effortlessly matched the stuff she could buy in the Empire's capital city. "Now, the drink." But after only one sip, she shuddered, grimacing, making Luna laugh out by reflex, right until she hurriedly clamped down on her mouth. Sorry, it's fine, you can laugh." "Ugh, this thing is really bitter. I thought I got used to it, but it isn't the same. This one isn't exciting to drink." "Is it really bitter?" Luna whispered, watching her face, increasing the redness of her own, speeding up her breathing. "Yeah, want to taste it?" "Yes, I always wanted, but I never got the chance. Here, let's share it." Sasha wasn't shy about it and placed the cup she had just drunk from right before Luna, making the girl flinch as her brain was brooding about a completely different specialty than coffee. Of course, she wouldn't confess it, so instead she took it up, licking the edge where Sasha's lips touched it before taking a sip. "It isn't bad," she murmured after putting it back down, unable to look into her mistress's eye. "Is it like this?" What is?" "You know, the other thing. Is it bitter like this?" "Huh?" This time, Sasha finally realized that Luna was thinking about something else, and it didn't take long for it to click in her head as she retraced her words. "Ah? That was just a slip of a mind. Don't take it seriously." "No, it wasn't," Luna pouted, "and now I'm curious. No fair, my mistress. You brought it up first, not me." It is bitter but different and, Luna asked, moving her chair closer, looking up at her, wanting to hear more. "You just don't mind it when it's happening. It's exciting, and seeing his face while doing it is so cute." "Ha!" This time, it was Sasha's turn to turn red and try to hide behind her cookie, but it also made Luna even more curious. "How was it? At first, did it hurt? Bled a lot? How the heck does it fit into that small hole? It never ceases to amaze me. Were you screaming?" "Eh?" On the one hand, Sasha was happy that Luna was becoming more direct and friendly, but she didn't expect a topic like this to be the thing to break the ice. Watching her mismatched eyes, they were twinkling like stars as she rubbed her legs together, clearly excited to hear her answers. "Well, it stung at first, yes." "And?" she pressed on the moment Sasha fell silent, wanting to know more, with all the details. "Now it is much easier, especially when I'm really wet." "Ooh." In the end, she had no chance to hide and had to retell everything from their first intimate moment to it finally happening. And by the end of it, Luna wholly emptied out the cup, leaving not a drop of coffee behind. Ah, bitter, she whispered, licking her lips, imagining something entirely different going down her throat. Ah. It was at that moment she regained her self-control, sitting up and looking at Sasha, not knowing what to say or how to explain what just happened. You never did it before? Luna was surprised to hear the questions, as she had expected some kind of punishment instead, but looking at Sasha, she couldn't help but melt inside. The way she was looking away, embarrassed yet delighted to talk with her, made Luna feel like she was not just her mistress, but her friend too. No, never. Frolicking in the capital is shunned for girls, at least if you want to have any social status later on. I had to keep myself pure for two reasons. Either our family gets into the grace of a noble family through it, or if not, it would be a perfect bargaining chip to score a good husband. That sounds weird. I think you should do it with the one you like and not use it as currency. That thing won't happen here. It is how it works in the capital, my mistress. It isn't that weird, but it is logical. Of course, if you think everyone is abiding by it, that would be a mistake, ha 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 ha. Well, I did because I was picky, but, well, you get the gist of it. Can you tell me more? What it was to grow up in a place like that? Gladly, Luna answered with a happy smile, beginning to retell her story and how she was raised by a desperate family. Even though the customs Luna was made to abide by were weird and incomprehensible for Sasha, she still listened with all her attention. Luna's story was of a bloodline wanting nothing more than to become servants to a noble family again and escape destruction. Ironically, they dismissed the exact thing they hoped for right before the finish line. Fate had a strange humor, it seemed. Chapter 44, Mother and Son. It was a cold, rainy day, the prelude to winter peeking around the corner, giggling to itself. I was visiting my parents in the castle where I was born, and after lunch, Sasha took Luna to show her around while I sat down with my mother for a proper business talk. Your maid got really close to her, huh? They became friends, which I am happy about. Sasha needed someone with whom she could share her thoughts with. I know there are things she can't ask me, especially if they are about me. That is true, although I do tell your father as it is when I have something to say. Is he with the soldiers? I didn't think he would miss lunch. I asked curiously, raising my cup and sipping on my tea. He has been infatuated with your training regimen, so he is doing his best to implement it. He always took it seriously, and with the weather, we will have an especially harsh winter. You think? She was weirdly serious about it, and I couldn't help but look towards the window, watching the rain splatter all over it. I know, Leon. I feel it. I will have to tell my people to stockpile more firewood then. Not just that, heavy winter means more beast attacks. When that happens, they come through the pass in numbers, so we are preparing for it in advance. Perfect, I yelped, surprising her, looking at me weirdly. I will have to come over when that happens. I want Sasha to try out some things I have been working on for fun. I would also be interested in seeing a witch casting magic. So far, I only heard about it, never seeing it myself. I am still lacking the crucial thing, CC. From what I inscribed onto paper or stone and made her activate, all of them were uncontrolled and self-destructive. They are defective as they can't handle the power of a witch. You are really unraveling the secrets of magic, yet you are blind to it. I couldn't be more proud of you, Leon. Hearing it coming from her still made me giddy inside, and I couldn't help but be embarrassed. Thanks, Mom. It is the truth. She giggled, rubbing my head, something I genuinely enjoyed, closing my eyes, and I would probably wag my tail if I had any. Are you looking for CC? Yeah, but I also hope to find a mine in the future. I just can't escape it. After doing multiple tests, it is now a confirmed fact that formations are constantly deteriorating after being used. The erosion is dependent on many things. For example, supporting magic, like the anti-gravity spell, can hold out the longest, but I had to reconstruct a few of them at the mines only a week ago. Attacking magic, like a firebolt, will destroy the source very quickly. I inscribed one onto a stone disc, and after Sasha used it 3 times, it cracked and fell apart. I need CC, so I can make long-lasting tools. I am also curious about how it affects their spells' focus and strength. From what I read, it is essential. In all the books within the Empress's collection, there was a detail that every meaningful formation must be painted with grounded-down CC, or the mage must wield an adequate relic while reciting for them to work. Relic? Mm-hmm. I nodded, explaining it further. Anything that is crafted to house CC, be it a wand, a helmet, or a chalice, it doesn't matter. It counts as a relic if it has CC within it or is added to it while being forged. Those formations that are being drawn up with it will be more focused and can withstand a lot of abuse. Of course, mages can't always draw in advance when casting spells, so that is when incantations come into play. I did hear that strong, serious spells require a lot of preparations. Oh, they do. It was my blessing to be let into the Empress's library as I learned a lot. I have still barely begun organizing what I memorized, and I will need years to comb through everything and translate them to normal speech. Most were too scientific, even for me. I just don't know whose brain you inherited, because you surpassed me too, Leon. She giggled but wasn't questioning me, simply showing her pride in my ability to remember all of it. Eh. I do have a special brain for memorizing stuff. Maybe I was blessed, I joked, as I know most people here really believe in those gods of old tales. That would explain a lot. She hummed, nodding, agreeing, and accepting my joke as a fact. Anyway, I continued, clearing my throat before our talks devolved into something else. Incantation is relatively simple in theory. It is a verbal formation. I don't get it. It is speaking the formation instead of drawing it. The mage must recite the spell and articulate what's being drawn by his or her words. Only then will it work in the correct way and be controllable. What Merlin and Sasha have achieved so far is unconscious, uncontrolled casting, which is forbidden by the imperial rules. If they had been taken in by them, they would have been punished heavily for it. All the mages are trained hard to rein in their powers and never unleash them accidentally. I can see why. Didn't Sasha burn down a house before? It was an accident, I argued, protecting her. While we are doing it, she never once flared up. Yet she can be really loud and squirty. I am glad she can show control. Maybe she should tone down the heat within her. Maybe her womb incinerates your milk before it has a chance to gift me with a grandchild. Mom, let's not go there, okay? Why not? You are now the ruler of the frontier. You must produce an heir. It will come when it comes. If you start forcing it, it just won't happen. Also, please, don't bring this up before Sasha. She has already been nervous about it. Okay, I will hold my tongue, but Leon, you must start looking for a second and third wife. Take in your maid if you must. They like each other anyway. Ugh, here we go. I couldn't help but roll my eyes, but I won't lie, the thought did interest me. But I genuinely love Sasha, so if anything, she has to agree. What I said to Yuri was my honest feelings. I value loyalty and will be dedicated to my wife. Or wives if that ever happens. Okay, I won't nag you with it again, son, but keep it in mind. Let's talk business then. It was like a switch being flipped, and she turned from a proud, caring mum into the CEO of an evil corporation. Even her countenance changed as if we were no longer mother and son. You want me to become one of your ministers? Why should I? Because you not only know how to handle trade, you have the experience dealing with other nobles. I followed you as a kid. I was there when you dealt with the local nobles and effortlessly sold soap behind my uncle's back. I plan to establish a few new industries next year and start producing goodies that can be sold for good money to fill up my treasury. I need someone like you. I won't do it. But, no, Mom. I am not your mom right now, Viscount Leon. She replied sternly without flinching. That position would require me to travel a lot, building connections and playing around with the type of people I hate. What did you call it? Networking, yes. A strange word, but hearing your description of it, yes. It fits. That is exactly what I am not keen on doing anymore. I will stay home, be the wife of my husband, and be free of those burdens. Now it is your job to do it, Viscount Leon. We are no longer in power. You are. Ha! I was afraid you would say this. I couldn't help but let out a long sigh, shaking my head. I understand. Then let me propose something different. I am listening. Become a teacher in our school. You only need to hold classes for selected people who are interested in it. If I can't get you to be my minister, I will ask you to raise me one. When would it happen? She asked after remaining silent for an elongated minute. From spring to the end of summer. According to Merlin's report, by then 65% of my initial population will have completed their basic education and be capable of reading, writing, and basic calculations. From those people, there will be a few who would be competent enough to be considered for the post. I want you to evaluate them while teaching and point me out the one who has the most potential. From there on, I will take over. I see. That is a much more acceptable offer. What would be my pay? What do you want? Don't relax. I am Lady Louise now, not your mother. She reprimanded me, but I saw a happy, playful light dance in her eyes. Well, how about me promising I will gift you with a grandkid in the next 5 years? 4, and in 2 years. Eh? No, that is too much. 3, 1 every year. Mom, okay, 2. A girl and a boy. In 5 years. How's that sound? Good. I will come next spring, but if the people you make me teach are inadequate, I will kick them all out. Fine by me. I laughed, standing up and stretching my hand out, finalizing our deal. I was sitting in my office for the past few days, working on a pretty thick book, laying down the foundation of my budding empire's laws, deriving them from my initial points. My plan was that I would finish it by the end of winter, and it would be the very first book that I would print out. By now, more and more iron was getting piled up in our warehouses, enough that I could start opening up the smithies and begin production of needed tools in earnest. I can even afford to try and experiment, wasting good resources in the process. My first experiment will be creating a big, round metal plate with the magic formation for water purification incorporated into it alongside many small holes. Then it would be installed at the end of our sewers, and see how it works out. It is not a final solution, but a temporary one, but it would help me develop something better and improve on it in the future. Plus, it would let my people experiment with finer metalworks that will be needed for my plan to copy Gutenberg's printing method. First, I would create a movable type system where metal parts could be arranged to form different words and sentences. It would need to be hand-molded, and that will be Sasha's job as she is immune to heat, so she can freely assist me in making them. As for the ink or dye, I am still looking for alternatives, but am considering procuring it from the same source from which I got the paint for my palace. From magical beasts. Somehow the thing they create within their bodies seems to withstand a lot, as even in harsh weather the colors don't fade, and none of the paint jobs begin chipping away. I had already drawn up the schematics of a wooden printing press and given them to those previously participating in the statue-making contest. Their work was proof enough that they could handle delicate tasks and could work with precision. As for Merlin, I gave him the task of selecting a few people and begin teaching them how to make paper. The moment everything comes together, I will commence printing my first book. Even in the Empress's private library, more books were handwritten than not. I often struggled to decipher the author's intended messages, and simply recalling some of the book's pages gives me a headache. It will be time to change that and introduce mass production. Maybe I can even sell some books for some profit. I never thought that an old high school project would come back in handy like this one day. Heh, I whispered, being interrupted by a soft, quiet voice. Master? I turned, looking at Luna, standing next to my desk, holding a rolled-up parchment in her hands. I know she finally chose to speak up because she noticed I was no longer working or thinking about something important. Here, I made a list of names who I think would be of good maids. Oh? You finally decided to do it? I chuckled, seeing her lower her head, making me reach out and rub her head. No worries, and thanks. You have time to get ready. I will hire the people after winter so you can spend time teaching them. Thank you, Master. She bowed deeply, but I could see the happy smile as it would mean her winter would be relaxed, and she would be allowed to laze around. While watching her, I couldn't help but wonder, should I tell Sasha about our little maid constantly peeping at us? I couldn't help but break into a perverted smile, thinking about both of their reactions. Chapter 45. Priestess Mikan. I was at the construction site overseeing the finishing touches on the base of my wall before winter. Right now, the parcels were marked and completed, with tall wooden posts buried into the ground. My plan was simple. We will build the inner and outer parts from heavy stone and fill up the middle with rocks, pouring cement into it. When I say cement, I mean the same thing that Hadrian used and, later on, withstood 2,000 years and could be visited still. When the small rocks, the byproduct of mining, are thrown into the middle, we will pour mortar made out of lime, sand and water into it, smooth out the top, and lay down another layer so that later on, soldiers can patrol atop it. While watching them work, I was pleased with how the people operated together and began using the tools I had been slowly introducing to them, primarily for measuring. By now, those who completed Merlin's trials, as they started calling the graduation test and ceremony, have become project leaders coordinating the other workers. I thought this would take much longer to achieve, but surprisingly, they adapted quickly and flawlessly. My luck is... I opened my mouth but already regretted it as I saw a horseman riding towards us with breakneck speed. It wasn't hard to tell. It was Oleg, who almost fell off the horse when he stopped next to me. "This is bad, my lord." "Yelling won't help," I replied, staying calm as many of my subjects were here, watching and hearing everything. If their ruler begins fidgeting, they would quickly lose hope and devolve into panicking. No, I won't let that happen, but I will also need to instruct Oleg never to do something like this ever again. If trouble comes, let's talk about it privately. Be quick and be precise. I will deal with it, even if the sky begins falling down. The scouts reported from the borders. A delegation is heading this way from the capital, bearing the emblem of the six-pointed star, the symbol of the gods. It is the church. I see. My lord? He asked, looking troubled, mainly because I showed no genuine interest in the news. The church is coming to replace those who have fallen. I expected something like this, but because the Empress never stated it and showed no interest in it, I also forgot about it. When will they arrive? By night, my lord. Make sure to set up a perimeter that leads towards the city. Anybody approaching, detain them for further questioning. Got it? Yes, my lord. Good. Carry on. I will deal with it, I added with a smile, walking away leisurely to instill into my people that nothing terrible had happened. Still, inside my head, my mind was racing alongside my heart. The delayed arrival of a replacement could mean multiple things. Either it took time to select the candidates, or it was deliberate. I expected an official letter to arrive first, informing me of the decision. But no, nothing like that. Probably because we are barbarians. I wouldn't be surprised if the arriving church people will be devastated that they have been sent to the butthole of the world. At least I hope so. I can play off of that. I spent the rest of my day in the old town, which was now barely occupied as most people moved to my city. In their stead, because of the closeness of our fortress, the soldiers were allowed to move in and live here. It was still a better choice than living in the barracks, as now they could have their own homes. They only had to walk to work every day when they were not on active duty. Captain Kumov, I greeted the town's head, who was one of my father's direct subordinates and also the man who taught Oleg when he joined the army. He was already around 50, with graying short hair, yet his eyes were still vividly blue, and he was just as muscular as the rest. Lord, he saluted with pride, looking at me with resounding loyalty burning in his gaze. I instructed all the rascals to behave. With their families relocated here, the town will be just as lively as before. Thank you. You were quick in arrangements. Most were already here. I have ensured all is well, and we will keep an eye on the church as ordered. I already had the audacity to send out a squad to greet them and escort them over. We don't want them to wander around now, do we? Perfect. I didn't expect less from the right hand of my father. Your words honor me beyond reason, my lord. He bowed, visibly happy, and it also reinforced my feeling that everything would be okay. I didn't have to wait for too long for the delegation to arrive, surrounded by lanterns, showering the land with golden light. I mean literally, as it was as if a yellow mist was drawing along their carriages. Magic, I whispered, recognizing the phenomena. Did they have a magic device, or did a mage come along? It was a good choice not to bring Sasha and Merlin with me then. Lord, Kumov whispered, but I just shook my head. No matter, act as planned. If there is a mage, I will deal with it. When the convoy stopped, I approached the first, most decorated carriage. It was made out of white wood with orange-painted suns on its doors and a stylized 6 in the middle, representing the holy number of the gods. Looking at the fighters escorting them, they were not wearing any official markings or armor. If anything, they looked like mercenaries and not professional soldiers. Lady Mikan has arrived, shouted the driver, getting off his seat, fixing his tuxedo-looking traveling garb and opening the door to the carriage. I tried my best not to laugh, seeing his theatrical, over-the-top acting and the tired smirks on some of the accompanying warriors. When the door finally opened, it was like someone was getting out of a car used for hotboxing. As a cloud of thick, golden mist rolled out first, I was so surprised that I inhaled a good amount of it, unable to react in time. It tasted like vanilla, and it made me refreshed and energetic. What the hell? Kiao! With a sharp moan, followed by a thump, I watched as a short woman tumbled out of the carriage, landing straight before my feet. The whole thing transpired because in the mist she stepped on her overly long white robes, sending her down to the earth straight from the heavens. Luckily, she had to be uninjured as she was adorned with 2 types of extreme fall dampeners on the front, so big that she finally dethroned my mother's chest regarding sizes. As she tried getting up, wiggling her bottom now facing the stars, I could see it outlined in her robe, making me gulp, hurriedly helping her stand back up before my intrusive thoughts won me over. "Are you okay, Lady Mycon?" Yes, I'm fine," she said bashfully, going pink in the face, grasping my fingers with her gloved hands. I know I easily throw out the word beautiful, but she most deserved it. She had wavy golden locks reaching her wide waist, and her silver-colored eyes glittered as the moon itself. She wasn't tall, barely reaching my chest, which became more evident the moment she fixed her clothing and stepped back to give me a bow. "My name is Mycon Morningstar. I was just recently promoted to be a priestess of the pantheon of gods, and I am here to take care of you, poor, lost, and forgotten people." Huh? I couldn't help but let it slip, as I didn't expect something like this. I know that place is desolate, so I just can't bear the thought of having our faithful and loyal subjects live in suffering. Not when you brave soldiers defend our peace in the core regions. I specially requested to be sent here, and let me care for you all. While she was speaking, I noticed that flares of golden light flew off from her exposed skin, lingering in the air before turning into mist and disappearing a few seconds later. I didn't need more proof. She was a witch. More than that, she was clearly unable to control her powers. What was happening? Someone? I see. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, Lady Mycon. No. You don't need to, young Viscount Leon. She clapped with a happy smile, surprising me again because I didn't expect her to know my name. I was destined to come here. The gods gifted me with this body for a reason, so I can embrace the frontiers in its entirety. Huh? This time it wasn't just me, but also the veteran Kumov, who repeated my short but precise question. Mikan began to explain, but I cleared my throat, bowing. Let me escort you to the church first. We can't have a pleasant talk outside in the middle of the night now, can we? It's chilly, and I would be devastated if our kind and beautiful priestess catches a cold. How kind. Yes, please, and thank you, she answered, wearing a motherly smile, looking at me in a way my impure thoughts resurfaced at once. Ha! Was it that bad? Sasha asked, climbing behind me and beginning to massage my shoulders while Luna hurried over, serving us tea. Both of them wore their pajamas, meaning they were only dressed in a simple gown. Are we in trouble, Master? I could detect the fear in Luna's voice, which was only alleviated when I shook my head. No, we are certainly not. Certainly. What do you mean? It's easy, my dear Sasha. I grinned, opening my left eye, urging her to continue her massage. The priestess who came, Mikan, is a complete idiot. I don't get it, said both of them at the same time. Let me say it this way. I am 90% sure that she is an airhead. The remaining 10% is still divided into two possibilities. I give 9% to the chance that she is an actor, and what she showed me is nothing but a ruse. If that is true, I applaud her. The remaining 1% is that she is a genius, one that I can't read nor understand. I am still not getting it. Sasha shrugged, making Luna nod her head vigorously, wanting to hear more. None of them were sleepy, yet I returned close to daybreak, and I knew they wouldn't let me go to bed if I didn't explain it now. While I escorted her from the carriage to the temple, she tripped over herself 4 times. She loves to blabber, going on and on and on about anything that catches her interest. I learned about her past without asking any questions. Those could be lies, Sasha countered, her hatred towards the church flaring up without warning. Well, they could be, but as I said, I just can't see it that way. She is slightly older than you two, as she is already 24, and I also learned that she is still a virgin, so her mana remains pure. She has been in the care of the church since being a baby, and she was being taught magic after her powers manifested themselves. Tsk, that is not good. And I see she likes to really blabber, huh? It isn't that bad, my dear, I countered, pecking my wife's lips. She is a healer. Ah, I got it, Luna yelled, surprising me and explaining at once. Morning Star. I knew the name was ringing some bells. It was the name of an imperial mage from 300 years ago. She was also a healer and became famous when she summoned a golden cloud in a battle, raining down on the battlefield, healing all the soldiers of the Empire, turning the tide of the battle. I didn't ask her about her pedigree. I chuckled, continuing what I learned about her. But she told me that she would work hard not to cause trouble and asked for forgiveness that she could barely control her mana. Which I believe because she leaves a trail behind her wherever she goes. Isn't that dangerous? Sasha asked, anxious about the fact. No. It is a rejuvenating feeling, so it isn't harmful. I asked her, and she told me she always had problems with it since her magic personified itself as a golden mist. I asked her to show me some spells, and I watched her magic circles. They were a mess. She is the worst mage I have ever seen, yet I only saw 2. Hey! No biting, I laughed, feeling her teeth sink into my neck. You deserve it. Humph. Anyway, she is either the best acting spy ever or a poor girl voluntarily exiled to the frontier. You see, I was right. Nobody wanted to come here, not until she learned about it. Going by her words, she immediately knew her mission, her destiny, or she says. As a healer, she worries about the people here and their well-being, so she came to heal the injured and tend to the sick. Isn't that bad for us? The duo asked the same thing at the same time once again, making me raise an eyebrow. You two are really in sync now, aren't you? Ah ha ha, good to see. Well, she is bad, really bad. Raising my thumb, I showed them a small cut on it. I intentionally dropped a cup and cut my finger, asking her to heal it. She couldn't do it. The first time she tried, she repaired the cup. The second time, the cut began bleeding profusely, while the third time, she managed to clot it. The fourth time, she replicated the same cut on her finger, and the fifth knocked her out with a heavy nosebleed. Yeah, she is not good. I would say it is best if none of the injured soldiers ask her for help. Chapter 46, Winter Experiments, 1. In the capital city, far away from the frontier region, the Empress of Envy was leisurely soaking inside her bathtub, letting the sweet fragrances coming from it caress her senses and relax her mind. Beep. 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 What? She shouted, opening her eyes, her voice carrying a blast of mana in all directions. Reacting to it, one of the mirrors flew off from the walls of her marble-covered bathroom, hovering above her tub, and her ancestor's old face came into view. Took you long enough, Catherine? Calling me by name? She scoffed, letting the thick foam cover her body below her neck. You want something then, Pascal? Be quick, I am meditating. I have no time for your problems. Yes, I do want something, and it is your problem too, he answered, clearly annoyed, not hiding his displeasure. You let my fat sheep slip away. I did what? Are you having episodes again, like when you thought you were a duck? No, The young priestess I was raising, why did you let her slip out of the city? You know I can't leave its boundaries. Now I need to find a replacement for the ritual. I don't know what you are talking about. I am going to cut the connection if you just called me to vent. Don't you dare. I don't even know who you are referring to, Giza. The descendant of Morningstar. Since finding her, I have wanted to use the fat sheep in my ritual. She is so full of mana. Using her would have extended my lifespan by even 9 to 10 years. Ah, I see. She left? To where? To the frontier, to the little guy's territory you sent down to me so I can see if he is a Vasa mage or not. Oh yeah, I did tell the church to send a replacement there. I didn't expect that they would dispatch her. But it isn't strange either. That woman is trash and the disgrace of magic. I would have gotten rid of her too, if not for your idiocy. Ah, now I need to take out one of the youngsters from the academy. Choose one with an insignificant ability. I hate when you snack on my mages. I already have my candidates. What candidates? This time, the ruler of the empire finally sat up in her tub, not minding the fact that her bare chest became visible. Do you know how rare they are? I need to complete the ritual in a year, and if I'm lucky, they may give me 3 or 4 years. Don't you dare complain now. Not after you are using my expertise in creating your toys to wage your wars. Tsk. You should accept the fact that your time has long gone, old man. Even if your fatty returns later, she will give you 10 years. Then what? The next time, even someone like her would only give you 1 or 2. You will die. This time, it was Pascal who wanted to hear nothing more, cutting the feed as the mirror flew back to its place, making Empress Catherine lean back with a triumphant smile. Of course, she knew that Priestess Mikan left the city. It was she who gave the final authorization to let her go. She had no value, as she was incapable of even the simplest of healing spells, and only consumed precious resources, giving back nothing. Plus, there was Pascal's case. The old man was a very useful teacher and mentor, but he was in the way by now. His clinging to life had gone on way beyond what humanly should be possible, and she feared that one day she would find herself as a snack for the old wizard. Who says if she would be the first of his kin to be consumed in his fight against mortality? She had already learned all that she needed. He was no longer an asset, but a burden. As to the priestess and that ugly boy, she no longer bothered about them at all. The frontier was a desolate place. Not even the gods could turn it into a prosperous region. I never saw this much snow. Luna sighed loudly as she looked out the palace window, watching Oleg's newest volunteers shovel the snow away as part of their exercises before heading to school to continue their studies. It wasn't snowing in the capital? Asked Sasha. It is farther down south, that is true. No, there was snow, but here. I can slip knee-high into it. Brr! I should drop an ice cube down into your dresses, I added, making them shiver and protest against the idea. Now I want to do it even more so. With a laugh, I put the quill down, stretching and rubbing my wrist. I think I will have this day off. What do you want to do? Hearing my words, Sasha was already beside me, looking at me like a kid, and I couldn't help but tickle her tummy. She was just so damn cute when acting innocent. I thought about going out and building a snowman. Maybe some snow forts too, and we can have a snowball fight. You two against me. Yes, Luna joined in, clapping, unable to restrain her excitement as she became much more open since becoming friends with Sasha. We barely left the palace and began building an oversized snowman when Oleg returned with hurried steps. My lord, a carrier pigeon has arrived. Beasts were seen in the pass. An attack is imminent. I see. Well, girls, we have to postpone our playtime. Get ready, we are moving to my parents' castle. Oleg, find Merlin and tell him that while I'm gone, he will deal with the issues that may pop up while you stay and assist him. As you order, my lord. Leaving the city slowed us down considerably as the roads disappeared under the heavy snow. One day, I would employ people who will keep them clean and maybe even use it as a conditioning for the army in the winter. But right now, that remains a faraway option. Behind us, a squad of soldiers were following in our steps, carrying giant stone backpacks. They were engraved with the weight-nullifying formation, remaining active throughout the journey. I can barely feel my legs, Luna groaned and complained after our arrival, her thick, coated leggings soaked because of the snow beginning to melt inside the castle walls. Go with her to my old room. I patted Sasha's shoulder. Take a bath with her, and after you warm up, come to the walls. I will go talk with my father while you finish. A bath does sound good. Brr, Luna murmured, continuing to complain as my wife led her away, and I went with my men right up to the wall, blocking the entrance to the plains. The sun was already ducking down behind us, and multiple fires were raging on the walls, illuminating the fortifications. You were fast, son. I was waiting for this, I laughed, hurrying up to him, standing beside a ballista that could fire horse-sized bolts with enough stopping power to nail even a lightly armored vehicle in my days. I see you brought out the heavy weapons, huh? This winter is harsher than anything in the past 10 years. He nodded, looking at the soldiers who kept their eyes on the constantly darkening horizon. Beast gets angry and daring in times like this. It was a weird place. The mountain here was reaching towards the sky like the sharp teeth of the land, wanting to bite the clouds above them. The pass itself was a constantly sneaking, narrow corridor, disappearing in the distance, leading to the unknown wilderness. One day I may go and take a look, but right now I do not have the drive nor the resources to entertain the idea for real. I also see that you brought some inventions over, Father asked, diverting my thoughts toward the stone boxes. Yep, they are a type of consumables. I began explaining, opening one up and showing him it was filled with book-sized stone tablets engraved with different formations. These are all the ones that I managed to create and are considered stable. This will be their live test, and also the first time Sasha can show us what a real witch is like. Will it be safe? I know you are nervous, but don't worry. I trust her. She will do her best, and you will be surprised how good she is. I have been making her practice, drawing them up on paper and making her use them up. She already got the hang of it, you will see. If I could get her a proper staff or something, I bet she would be able to begin using magic by incantations and not relying on my drawings. I understood half of that, son, but I believe in you. Heh 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 heh. Thanks. Tomorrow, when the sun is up, I want to go out and place a few of them outside, especially the ones that are trap-like formations that become explosive when activated. No need to look at me like that. They are entirely safe, promise. I told you, Sasha is better than you think. You'll see. What I want to test is whether they activate if a beast comes near them or not. That would finally be concrete proof that they are magical in nature. I think they are. I never saw any normal animal grow that big and breathe fire. True, but that just could be some kind of evolutionary difference. Fire can be produced in more ways than one. I need to know because if they are using mana, that means that the other side of the mountains is different to our end. When Sasha appeared, she was alone, and to my question where Luna was, she told me that my mother asked for her. Huh? What for? I hope she will not order her to do some weird things. Oh well. Will you be okay? Father asked, stepping next to Sasha, rubbing her head, smiling at her, while the sun finally disappeared for good, letting the temperature plummet even faster. Don't worry, I survived multiple winters outside. I will be fine. Even back then, I could warm myself up, and now I can combat the cold without thinking about it. She had just finished when a horn interrupted us, signaling that from one of the 4 towers, a sentry noticed something. Let me light up the scenery. I grinned, giving Sasha one of the tablets, and she knew what to do at once. Holding it out, focusing on it, her body was gradually surrounded by a deep crimson hue as the formation came to life and shot a bright red flare into the sky, accompanied by a loud whistle. It's like a red moon has risen, Father whispered, seeing the land below it illuminated. It quickly revealed the beast in the distance, and from here I could not make it out well enough. But it seemed like some winged, white-furred feline. The fact that I could recognize its features also meant it was pretty big, around the size of an elephant. It's thinking, I hummed, leaning against the wall, noting in my head that I must create binoculars sometime soon. They are more intelligent than ordinary beasts, but are still animals. You remember what happened last time when Sasha was here, no? True. Well, even if it is smart enough to know it has been discovered, it isn't ready for what comes next. Sasha, try this, I said, giving her another tablet, and after looking at the engravings on it, she nodded, knowing full well which it was. "Watch closely, Dad. You are going to love this." When she activated it, the tablet broke the moment the spell manifested itself. With a piercing whistle, a red rocket flew forward, almost at the speed of sound, exploding near the beast. Although it didn't hit it, the explosion threw the snow dozens of meters into the air and knocked it off its feet. We could see it scamper, roaring as it ran away as fast as it could, not looking back, rushing for its life. "Sorry, I missed." "It's okay," I laughed, hugging her waist. "It was farther away than anything you ever tried to hit before. It was great. You almost got it." "What was that?" Father asked, finding his jaw and pushing it back into place, while the rest of the soldiers broke into a loud hubbub. "A proper spell for a mage, trained to be on the front lines. I stole the concept from our dear Empress and recreated it. From the description alone, they use it for long-range attacks, eliminating the leading figureheads of the enemy army." I answered proudly, nodding towards the other unused tablets. "I brought along some nice toys, Dad. I can't wait to try them out." Chapter 47, Winter Experiments 2. When the demonstration ended, my father became like a little kid, asking us all the questions he could come up with. "Do you remember the big flare you all saw in the sky months ago? The one that I told you not to worry about?" I countered one of his questions with mine. Now, the first spell Sasha demonstrated here was that, but refined and without Merlin's interference. It is an original creation, so I am exceptionally proud of it. The second one is something that I stole from the Empire. No wonder they keep it a secret. There is more here, of course. I have brought 10 long-range firebolts, the same one you just saw Sasha fire at the beast. Then I have 10 mines, which, as I said, I want to plant on the outside. If someone with actively releasing magic comes close to it, touching distance, it should activate and go boom. Then the rest are flares, and I have a few experimental ones of different elements. I just don't know how they would work, as Sasha is best when it comes to fire-based spells. Of course, he wanted to see the others right away, but I had to tell him that would be foolish. I don't want to waste them on the big nothing. I need targets for 2 reasons. One was the obvious one, seeing if they function as I wanted. The other was to train Sasha to hit moving targets. I was sure that sometime in the future there would be problems between us and the Empire, and Sasha would have to be able to defend herself and our home. If I could come up with methods to not put her in harm's way, I would, but I can't deny the fact that a mage is indeed a mighty force by themselves. I now fully understand why the Empire gobbles them up for their own use. It was enough of a demonstration for the night, so I headed back, going straight for a hot bath and enjoying Sasha's fingers as she helped me wash my body. "Weird," I whispered, sitting down on my old sofa with Sasha. "What is?" "That Luna wasn't here, peeping." "Huh? Why would she do that?" "Ah, nothing," I added hurriedly, but she wasn't letting it go. She scrutinized my face, leaning closer and closer, humming louder and louder. "You are lying." "What? No. You are. You always move your eyes from left to right when doing it. You also blink twice, really fast." "Oh, I didn't know that." "Ha. Don't be angry, okay?" "Tell me." She pouted, sitting up cross-legged, wanting to hear it without sugarcoating, watching me like a hawk so I don't lie to her. "Since the first day, Luna has been peeping, watching us having sex. I noticed it, but well, it is harmless, and she needs some entertainment." "What? Sasha?" "Nee." With a loud cry, she disappeared under her robe, pulling all the nearby blankets over her, cocooning up like some little caterpillar. "It isn't that bad. Sasha, hey. Sasha, hello." No matter what I tried, no answer came from the bundle of blankets, so I began slowly peeling them away, layer by layer. It quickly became a struggle and a tussle to free her, making her tomato-red face pop out. "I want to hide, forever. Put me back. How?" "Nope, I won't. Come on, it isn't a big deal." "It is. She saw me moan and do things. I can't. How? Meanie, bully, perv, idiot." "Don't blame her." "I am not. I am saying it to you. You knew about it and did nothing. Ooh, woo, 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 woo. Bad Leon, super bad Leon. Baddie bad, baddesty bad." Ah ha ha ha. Come on, relax. I continued to laugh, finally pulling her up, starting to kiss her face and neck, massaging her body. I already knew where to attack to turn her on, and the effect was almost immediate as she began moaning. So what if she watched us? She is our maid. If not watching, she would know it the moment she cleans up after us the next day. Who do you think changes the soaked sheets? No! She moaned again after the realization hit her, yet she still opened her legs wide when my hand slipped down there. There is nothing to be ashamed of. I bet you talked about it anyway. Not in details. Ah. I grinned, catching her stiffen up after realizing she let her words slip. I knew it. See, it's perfectly normal. She is just curious and lonely. She doesn't have a husband who knows what she likes and how to please her. I continued whispering into her ear, making Sasha moan ever more louder. So stop for a moment, please. Hmm? What is it? I asked, surprised as her words were honest, so I immediately halted, releasing her from my grip. If you are not in the mood, I'll stop. Sorry. No, not that. She turned around quickly, holding my hands, and I noticed her eyes getting filled up with tears. What is it? What's wrong? I'm bad. I'm not good enough. She sniffled, surprising me with her words that I was unsure where the hell did they come from. Whoa, whoa, slow down there. Who said that? Where did you even get the stupid idea? But, but it is true. The fuck it is. But I can't get pregnant. Huh. We are doing it every day and I am still not pregnant. I can't give you a child. I am useless. I don't know where this came from so suddenly. It stumped me, for real. She burst into tears when she saw me fall silent, and her loud wails were hurtful to see. I felt like my heart was being squeezed with two hands as I watched, hugging her close to me, gently stroking her hair. Shh. It's all right. Don't cry. It isn't your fault, not at all. It didn't seem to work, as she just began crying even louder. It was futile to say anything more, so instead I continued hugging her, stroking her back, trying to comfort her, gently kissing the top of her head. When the tears finally stopped falling and she managed to breathe normally once again, I gave her a passionate kiss. Salty. I chuckled, holding her face in my hands, pinching her playfully. Don't dare cry like this again, you hear me? Shh. I said no crying. Listen to me, Sasha. I love you, understand? Nod if you do. Good girl. Now you also know that my parents tried for years to have me. Who says it is your fault? It can be easily my problem. Maybe my sperms are lazy bastards, not wanting to swim deep enough or go the wrong way. Don't you dare blame yourself when it could be easily me. It must be me. Owie. I couldn't help but chuckle after she grabbed her forehead where I flicked her. Don't stress about it. We will try and try, One day it will click as it clicked for my parents. But. I groaned, rolling my eyes, and with a flip I made her lay on my lap with a surprised face as I pulled down her panties and slapped on her butt. Bad girl, thinking bad stuff. I will spank you. But Owie, she moaned again as I slapped her bottom. No buts, just butts. Ha. Oh, okay. I won't say it anymore. She pleaded, yet still pushed her perky little ass to my hand as I began kneading it. Good girl. As I said, we will try it repeatedly until it happens. Got it? Oh, okay. Both of us knew what would happen next, and it didn't take long for me to climb on her, pushing her down from behind and spending a delightful hour punishing her for thinking up stupid scenarios in her head. It was already way past sunrise when Sasha woke up, tucked in and still feeling Leon's warmth in her tummy. Rubbing her eyes and yawning, she noticed two white legs sticking out at the couch's end before the fireplace. Climbing out of bed and walking over, she realized they were connected to Luna, who was sleeping there, lying on her stomach, her head stretched against the same spot they had made love the previous night. She wanted to feel embarrassed, but no matter how she looked at her silly smile, drooling a little, she couldn't help but chuckle in the end. Then a sudden idea hit her. She was sure it wasn't Leon's fault that she failed to give him an heir. He didn't live his childhood foraging in the forest and barely surviving, destroying her body. It had to be her who was incapable of bearing a child, yet he would need one. The thing they are all building up will need an heir. If she can't do it, someone else will have to. It is a better choice than Yuri. With that decided in her head, she gently shook Luna awake, who needed a moment to realize where she was. Ah, Sasha, sorry I got sleepy. Huh. I will make something to eat at once. It's all right, I'm not that hungry. She smiled, sitting down next to her. Dreamt about anything nice? Well, this and that, you know. About Leon? Huh? Luna's body immediately stiffened, looking at her mistress with wide eyes. He told me you were peeping at us. How? So he did know. Ah wah 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 wah. I didn't do it that many times. Hearing the revelation, Luna began panicking, her face turning pink, then white, then switching back and forth because she couldn't decide to be afraid or embarrassed. It's okay. I was going to talk to you about it. So, tell me, do you like him? He is my master, so… Mistress, where is this going? Leon will need an heir, and it seems I can't give him one. Not you too. Huh? Now it was Sasha's time to be surprised, blinking her eyes rapidly before Luna finally explained what she meant. It turns out she was late yesterday because Louise, Leon's mother, kept her, conducting a long and extensive questioning and even suggesting she start preparing to become a concubine for her son. She is right, Sasha murmured, crossing her arms, watching Luna and her body, starting to think just like her mother-in-law. Eh? Mistress? Sasha? But? Yes, you have a nice butt. Eh? It was not the first nor the last time for Luna to repeat the same simple questions, as Sasha wasn't budging. While Leon was gone since early morning, planting his traps with his father and soldiers accompanying him, she was already planning how to make Leon sleep with Luna. It surprised her how calm she was about the idea. Watching her friend and maid squirming in place, rubbing her thighs together, looking at her with sparkling eyes, Sasha couldn't help but feel that something was being awakened within her, something that she didn't know about before, yet it made her heart flutter and become excited. Leon was her man, and she loved him unquestioningly. Then there was Luna, her first friend, and she wanted to bond with her even more now. Chapter 48, Winter Experiments, 3. It took 2 days for probably the same beast to reappear. It did so at night, sneaking forward under the darkness, and we only noticed its presence after he walked close to one of my traps, setting it off, resulting in a loud bang and a flare shooting up to the sky, illuminating the snowy landscape. I knew they were magical, I whispered, standing on the walls while the soldiers were on high alert, getting ready to go out and retrieve the body that was torn to shreds. It died quick, Father laughed, slapping my back while I stifled a yawn. Those traps are very effective. Can you make more? I can, and they are one of my few inventions that can work without any CC required. I will start making more so you can use them to layer the pass for extra defense. I call them landmines. The moment the sun is up, we will do it. This is way better than riding out and meeting the monsters head on. That's for sure. It didn't take long for more beasts to appear, all belonging to the same kind, coming late at night under cover of darkness. They didn't really fare any better, as they were blown up the same way, thanks to my new weapons. What was weird, though, was that we watched as, from the group of 5, 3 quickly retreated, staying far away, watching their dead brethren before leaving. For the following night, I remained outside, watching, and I wasn't surprised when they came again. The bastards were learning as they chased a smaller-looking beast towards us. From where I was standing, it looked like a gazelle, the size of a small car. Poor thing didn't get far as it stepped onto one of the mines, blown to smithereens just the same. This is weird. I looked at my father, surprised by his troubled look and voice. I never saw this kind. I met intelligent beasts, but I never saw a pack that worked together like this, and one that manipulated others. I don't like this, son, not a bit. This does not mean they have human-like intelligence, but it is fascinating. For you, for me, it is terrifying. I am glad we at least have a mage here equipped with your stone tablets. Hey, thanks, I guess. I am not worried. This isn't the first cold winter, is it? No, it isn't, but never mind. I never asked what he meant or why he was so fidgety, but soon it was my turn to feel a headache coming. Not because of the monsters or the cold, but because that damned priestess came to the fort. You are kidding me, I grunted, quickly putting my robe on as I climbed out of bed naked, not worrying about Luna watching me with wide eyes. No, master, I am not. She is at the front gates, and your mother went ahead to greet her. Damn it! Why the hell did she come here? What should I do? Sasha asked, looking just as worried. For now, nothing. I hope that she is just as clumsy in picking up on things as in other fields. I will go and see what she wants. I heard her saying she was here to give support and heal the injured. She wanted to stay until the end of the winter, Luna murmured, making me rub my temples, trying to think something up so I could send her away. Fucking hell. I always say if things go too well, something will happen to reset my luck back to zero. Geez. Coming down to the main floor, Mikan was already there, led in by my mother. Ah, Lord Leon, I am so terribly sorry for waking you up. You shouldn't have come down and welcomed me, Persona. Ah! I was about to say something, but she slipped on her still snowy, wet boots, almost face-planting onto the stone floor, if not for my mom. Although she did catch her by the boobs, I couldn't help but see a jealous flash go through her eyes. Are you all right, priestess? She asked gently, letting go of her. Yes, yes. Sorry, it seems that I am a bit clumsy today. Hehe. Today? I asked, blurting it out without thinking, which made her blush and lower her head. You know it is dangerous here, yes? As the priestess of the 6 gods, I must face all the perils and help my brethren to overcome them. Injuries can be fatal, especially when those nasty beasts inflict it. What if they are venomous? Magic is the only way to ensure everybody's safety. Can you even cast such a magic? I asked, no longer wanting to hold back my tongue. If nothing else, I may try insulting her so she leaves. I did learn it. I know of it, yes. You couldn't heal my thumb when I cut it. I was tired from traveling. She answered promptly, and she didn't look troubled or angry at all. If anything, she was hella confident in herself. Worry not, young Viscount. I, Mikan Morningstar, am a fully fledged witch granted exclusive power by the gods. I will ensure everyone's safety. If you stay, please ensure that you don't go on to the battlements. This is a military fortress. If anyone is injured, we will transport them to you. That can be too late. I must be there to help them at once, she protested, beginning to pout, and I saw her getting angry. But instead of frightening, she looked like a chipmunk who had her favorite food stolen. Priestess Mikan, all my respect to you, but this is the frontier region. Here, my word is law, and this includes the church. I am ordering you not to visit the battlements for your safety and the Empire's security. We are defending millions upon millions of lives, and I won't put it in jeopardy, not even for a witch. Do you understand me? You clearly don't know a witch's power. I could save lives. I know what someone with magic can do. I raised my voice once again, letting it echo loudly between the castle's walls, making her shudder. I could even hear Luna and Sasha as the 2 girls came to take a look, hiding behind the walls on the 2nd floor, peeking over and watching us. He is kinda hot when shouting, Luna whispered. He can be assertive, Nobody talked to me like that before. How dare you? Mikan snapped at me after she regained her clarity. Then it was time. I smiled, maybe a bit too arrogantly, but I couldn't let her go to the walls. The amount of mana coming off her body would surely trigger the tablets. It just shows you've never been to a military post and tells me your novice, amateur outlook. You are too soft to these lands, Priestess Mikan. Here blood flows like a river, lives are lost daily, and we have no place for people to pretend play and screw up everything. Go back to the village and tend to the peasants' illnesses. I, she mumbled, looking at me with transfixed eyes, and I was sure she was about to either burst into tears or swear at me. Instead, she held her hands between her giant breasts and spoke with a ringing bell-like voice, her eyes sparkling like spring water. I never knew you people were so hardened by the constant warfare you are subjugated to. Poor souls, I will do my best to be of service. You will not be disappointed, Viscount Leon. What the fuck? I asked, barely audible, but before I could try to think of something, multiple horns blared from the walls, signaling an attack. In the morning? Why? This was highly unusual after the previous days. Keep her in, Don't let her go out, I barked. My orders aimed at my mother while I rushed to dress up and head to the walls to see what was happening. It wasn't pretty, that's for sure. In the distance, I saw around a dozen massive feline monsters standing, staring straight at us. I would have bet my neck that they were clearly seeing us, maybe even capable of picking out us individually. Can we hit them? I asked, standing next to my father in battle armor. Not with the ballistae. They are too far for that. Do they know our range? I whispered, but of course there was no answer to that question. I can try, Sasha's voice came as she hurried to follow me, as it was no time to be worried about the priestess's presence. Confident? I looked at him with one eye, watching her pick out a table, looking at me with a soft smile. I want to give it a shot. That's the spirit, go. I grinned, slapping her butt, watching her step forward, holding the tablet not at the target, but way above them. Good, good, she is a natural when it comes to learning my time's knowledge. When she activated it, the stone shattered with a loud clang, sending a bright crimson firebolt arcing through the air. It couldn't have been more perfect, because after it took a nosedive, it landed right in the middle of the group of beasts with a loud bang. They were too far away to see how many we hit, but I knew they were angry by the howls that the wind carried forth. Something is happening, I murmured as I saw them spread out, and not long after, one of the beasts leapt into the air, spreading out a giant golden wing. It wasn't real. It was made by magic as it flapped, flying over the landmines. Shoot, shoot it down. It wasn't just my shout, but my father's exact words. I just echoed him. The ballistas were quickly aimed towards the sky, but the beast was so fast they could not hit it. That was when I heard a whistle as Sasha used up another tablet, and her spell hit the beast, blowing it into shreds. When the bloody pieces dropped to the ground, they were still glowing with pure magic, activating multiple mines, resulting in a chain explosion. Damn it! I think the others also realized that the road was clearing up, because soon we saw 5 of the same kind of monsters rushing forward, following the route where the explosions happened, no longer fearing it. Bastards. Ready the defenses, Father roared, already at the forefront with sword drawn, standing next to a giant metal bowl filled with grease and tar, ready to drop it on them. Sasha! I am not going in, she argued immediately, surprising me, but I simply smiled, kissing her cheek. Duh, I need you with me. Bring as many tablets as we have, use them all up if necessary, but hit the bastards. Yes, she answered, her eyes glowing with happiness that I didn't send her away. As the beasts came closer, I could finally fully see their form, which was best described as a liger. The only difference was that these behemoths were the size of an elephant. The arrows that the soldiers shot down at them bounced off their thick hide and fur, and only one of the lucky ballista shots nailed one of them to the ground. Sasha was surprisingly collected next to me. I expected her to panic a little, but no, she took aim, activating her magic and hitting the beast in the front, blowing it apart and setting its remains aflame. Seemingly, her presence and the feeling of magic troubled the remaining ones, but they were now too committed to their attack. The soldiers roared in celebration when she hit the second liger, killing it in another fiery explosion. They continued firing their arrows and dosing the high walls with grease, making it hard for the monsters to try and scale with their sharp claws. I had the thought that luckily for us, they seemingly couldn't fly like their supposed leader did. I just refused to speak it out loud to avoid jinxing us. I'm here to help. Shit, I knew that voice. That damned priestess. Turning around, I saw her trying to hurry up the stairs, right behind us, almost falling down twice. When she finally ascended to the top, she noticed Sasha next to me casting a spell, her eyes growing wide and shocked. Damn it! Her presence triggered something in one of the monsters below. I don't know what it was, but it made a wild roar, spurting the same magic wings and hopping straight up to the walls with one swift move, straight where we were. Watch out! There was no time to think, so I pushed Sasha to the left, out of the reach of the beast's claws. Still, that left the stupid priestess vulnerable, and she may be a problem. But damn it! At that moment, the seconds were like minutes as I saw the fear in her eyes and that she honestly wanted to help. She wanted to be useful. I just can't let someone like that die. Without too much thinking, I raised my sword, trying to stand in the way of the claw, knowing full well it was most likely pointless. And it was. I saw it hit the blade, break it apart like glass, then make contact with my body. At least I noticed that the impact made the beast's focus draw onto me from Mikan and make its paw change its course, smashing my body against the wall and breaking me in the process, consumed by a fit of bestial anger. Funnily enough, I didn't feel pain, but it reminded me of the time I first died. It was the same feeling as being hit by another truck. I wonder, will I reincarnate once again? Ha! I already miss Sasha. Chapter 49, Winter Experiment, 4. When the monster's claw hit Leon, his body immediately broke apart. Still on the ground, in the middle of standing back up from his push, Sasha saw Leon's limbs fly off, and a pool of blood was already gathering below him as she slumped down, lifeless. The beast wasn't paying any more attention to him at all, its eyes turning back to the shocked and paralyzed Mikan. It was raising its bloody paw right until fear rushed through its body, stopping it from swiping down. It was nothing that it had ever felt before, and when that sharp, falcon-like cry came from behind him, it simply pissed itself. The bestial roar's source was none other than Sasha, who now looked completely different than usual. Her clothes were burnt to ash at a moment's notice, while a ginormous, blood-red magic formation appeared behind her, rotating at an incredible speed. Her hair was no longer fiery, but fire itself, raging without control, licking her naked body. As their eyes met, the beast burst into flames without any chance to cry, turning into ash in the blink of an eye. Sasha wasn't done yet, and when her cry echoed out once again from the formation behind her, a red firebird flew out, washing through the pass. It didn't harm the walls or the soldiers. They couldn't feel its heat, but the monsters were all turned to bright torches, consuming them instantly. No! This time, Sasha's voice was her own, torn apart by terror as she returned to normalcy while rushing to the broken body of Leon. I... Mikan stammered, barely able to stand, swaying left and right, horrified of what had happened in a moment's notice. Heal him, please, heal him, begged Sasha, holding Leon's bloody, mangled, lifeless corpse, looking at her pleadingly, but Mikan barely could form a coherent thought. My, what an unexpected turn. The eerie, somewhat ethereal voice was new, appearing from nowhere, belonging to a woman. As to where it came from, at first it was hard to tell, right until the golden, vanilla-smelling mist from Mikan's body poured out, taking the shape of a 14-year-old girl wearing a loose robe. I didn't expect to find something like this here, in the butthole of the world. Huh? Mikan flinched, floored by what was happening. Son! Arrived the devastated shout from afar as Kalash rushed over, already witnessing what he did not want to see at all, not even in his nightmares. Can you help him? Please, I give you anything you want. Sasha pleaded to the new figure, not even questioning why she was there or who she was, what she was. I can. It is in my best interest, so you are in luck. She smiled amicably and began chanting in a tongue that was unknown yet familiar to Sasha's ears. She realized the girl was speaking out the pieces of runes that made up magic itself, and a moment later a golden formation appeared above the castle, covering it in its entirety. Soon it was snowing, but this time it was golden. Wherever it fell, soldiers were rejuvenated and healed, and as Leon's body was being covered in it, it began reconstructing itself. His blood flew back into his body, his torn limbs reconnected themselves, while his skin regrew at a rapid pace right until his heart began beating once again. Okay, this is new. I mumbled to myself, floating in space, surrounded by what I could only call the cosmos. Wherever I looked, stars were glittering, colorful nebulas were swirling, but it was different. It was different from what I learned about space. Something was not right. I mean, it was way too dense, way too filled with life. Turning around, I saw a star behind me, but it was not a star. I can't describe it, but I was looking at a whole world from above, not a celestial body. It wasn't making any sense to my brain and previous knowledge. This was not how stars formed and acted. It refused to acknowledge universal laws. Was I tripping? Probably. Before I could think about more, a golden light stretched out towards me, enveloping my whole being, beginning to slowly pull back into that realm below me. Was this another reincarnation? Am I that lucky? Or am I being sent to hell after being shown what heaven looks like? Not that I have any chance to fight against it, so be it. I can only let it happen. Maybe I will become a demon lord next. Ugh, what? I groaned, opening my eyes, feeling weak, and I could barely move my head. Leon! I know that voice, I whispered as Sasha threw herself at me, crying, hugging me close, not wanting to let go. Son, I know that voice too. I smiled, glancing up at my father, who was whiter than the snow itself. That was when I noticed the new ethereal figure standing close by. Although I don't know you. But thanks. You are welcome, she replied with a proud smile, placing her hands on her hips. You almost slipped so far out that I couldn't bring you back. Lucky. You can thank me later, but now I feel spent. I will have to go to sleep for a few days. Keep Maikan with you until then. When I recover, I will talk with you. We have a lot to go over. For sure, I whispered, seeing her disappear, followed by a thud as Mikan herself fainted. What the hell happened? I asked, but Sasha was not answering, just hugging me even tighter. A miracle. Father mumbled, wiping his eyes. The 6 gods' miracle. That is what happened, son. Gods, huh? I mumbled, starting to feel my strength return to my arms and began stroking Sasha's hair. Maybe my city does need a temple. What followed my, resurrection was the fact that I was made to stay in bed. Nobody wanted to let me get up, even when I finally got some strength back. The most adamant about it was Sasha, who, along with Luna, continued looking over me every second of the day. I'm fine already, I murmured, trying to get out of bed, but truthfully, I felt like someone recovering from a high fever. Stay put, Sasha commanded sternly. I can easily push you down, meaning you are not right yet. I need to pee, I argued, and it wasn't a lie. Luna! Coming, mistress. What's the meaning of this? I asked, but I already knew it the first time I looked at the bottle in Luna's hands. I will hold it, master, and mistress will aim. You just need to let it out. She answered me with a perverted yet happy smile while Sasha fished my member out, taking aim. Nothing happened. Of course not, because the situation was weird and perverse. So instead of peeing, I felt myself becoming hard. Thank the gods, Sasha sighed, watching it happen. It means you are really all right. I told you. With a grumble, I tried to focus as I had to pee, so I finally worked my mind hard to let it out. I have to say, their duo worked perfectly, as not one drop spilled out, and they even helped clean me with a wet sponge. Never do something like that again, Sasha whispered into my ear, hugging me while Luna hurried away to bring dinner for us. I am not planning on picking up peeing into a bottle as a habit. Sounds unhealthy. Idiot, you know what I mean. Don't worry, I have no intention of dying again. Once was enough. It was too much, she countered me, not knowing what I meant, but that was okay. Tell me, what happened after that beast smacked me? I couldn't see or hear anything as I slipped away. Well, you don't need to hold back the details. I can take it. I don't remember all. I had a blackout when I saw you like that. I only remember coming back to normal a little later and asking Mikan to help you. She had another girl come out of her, forming from her magic. Yeah, I remember that part. Well, it seems I will have to wait until she is back to normal and finally learn what the fuck happened, because that shit wasn't normal. No, it wasn't. I spoke with Louise, and she is taking care of her for the time being. So far, she looks like she has fallen sick. Her fever is really high, and she is barely conscious. I visited her only once, but I think it is some kind of magical backlash. I could feel her body struggling with it. I read about magical backlashes, but the books the Empress had in her library only mentioned that those could exclusively happen when a mage overexerts themselves by trying to cast a spell above their talent. They tend to say that every mage has a fixed talent at birth, and some simply are never able to use more significant, more powerful spells, no matter what. Their magic goes berserk if they try, and it can even kill them. Do you think she will die? She asked, horrified at the notion. No, otherwise that manifestation of mana wouldn't have told me we would talk later. I have a few ideas, but I will stay silent until I hear it from her. I'm back, shouted Luna while coming in with a big rolling tray filled to the brim with food, and before I could complain that I would not be able to eat that much, they began hand-feeding me. Oh well, once in a while I can let it go, as it does feel nice to be pampered. 3 days later, Mikan's fever finally subsided and she was starting to regain consciousness but needed constant attention. I ended up telling Luna to keep accompanying her, spy on her, and try to get some preliminary information out of the woman. We didn't really learn much, as she was just as lost as we were. By her words, something like this had never happened before, and she couldn't even fathom what triggered it. I believed her as scouring through the books in my head while resting. I also couldn't find any mention of sentient magic. No spells took human form and began speaking. Ever. There was no decoy magic that I could find, nor clones created or split consciousness manifesting itself. Whatever happened to her and me that day was unique. On the other hand, what was interesting was what Father told me. After pulling Mom off me, who was barely holding it together when she heard what had happened. The recount of what Sasha did surprised my wife just the same, as she didn't remember it at all. It seems such a wild emotional shock triggered something in her, releasing a spell inherent to her. Was it a manifestation of her will? Was every mage capable of it, or was it unique to her? So many unknowns and no real answers. Weird, I murmured, sitting on my bed while Sasha was next to me, still adamant about hand-feeding me my soup for dinner. What? She asked curiously, smiling because by now I could move around by myself. I just got tired way too quickly. It seems my body still needed rehabilitation before I was back at 100%. I was searching for your spell and found nothing about it. Huh. That is the second in a row. Even if the Empire is powerful, they can't know everything, or they would have already conquered the world. Well, you are right in that. At least there will be things left to me to discover, huh? Yes, just be careful. Don't die, okay? I told you already I won't. I answered with a kiss, and she happily returned it, putting down the soup and laying back on the bed. Without saying anything, she was already undressing, climbing atop me, grinding against my body. You just rest. I will do the moving. She whispered between two kisses, and I agreed. Although my stamina was not there yet, at least my actual sword remained unbroken. Chapter 50, Morning Star. As Mikan slowly recovered, her weird affliction had also returned, beginning to spill out from her body. I already had a few guesses about what this meant, but I kept my mouth shut as I wanted to hear it from her or whoever was living inside her. I didn't need to wait for long as Luna came running over later that day because the energies of the priestess were stirring. It wasn't just me who hurried over. Sasha, my father, and my mother also accompanied me, wanting to know what was going on. We watched, just as wide-eyed as Mikan, as her mana coalesced into the form of a young girl. That was longer than I expected. She moaned, stretching as if she just woke up from a pleasant dream. Who are you? Asked multiple voices at once, belonging to me, my father, and Mikan. A valid question. It needs a bit of explanation, so sit down. I will tell you everything. First things first, my name is Elysian Morningstar, or Ely for short, but most of the scriptures probably only have my family name, Morningstar, recorded down. The Morningstar? I asked, familiar with her name, thanks to Luna. From 300-something years ago? Yours truly, she giggled, bowing a little. What are you? Sasha blurted out, trying to see through her, which wasn't hard, but only in its literal sense. She was not a physical entity, but purely made out of mana. Another good question. Nothing less to be expected from a witch. Looking at her appraisingly, she grinned. Still a bit rough, but what you displayed was powerful. You have raw potential and would be a golden egg in the hands of the Empire. If mages are rare, one who can control one of the elements in its most primal form, without incantations or concentration, is 1 out of 100. Good thing you haven't been discovered, or you would be already locked away in secrecy or brainwashed. I knew you were unique, I chuckled, feeling proud to be her husband. But I guess you were too. Of course, Elysienne replied with a harumph, taking offense to the mere fact I dared pose such a question. Then how did you end up like this? Ugh, as I said, it is a long story. Let me start from the beginning. When my powers awakened, I was taken away by the church, and soon I was indoctrinated to serve the imperial family. I was a good little soldier, and with my support, we had our biggest expansion of territories seen in the last 1,000 years. I was that good. Should I clap? I asked with sarcasm, but she wasn't getting it. Or she was but decided to ignore me. Go ahead, I allow it. The thing is, I grew too powerful. I was so good at healing that I not only halted my aging, but also managed to reverse it. It was giving the Emperor weird thoughts. The bastard was already old, and he was jealous of my abilities, but hid it well. Together, we devised a new spell, one that would help him borrow my mana and rejuvenate himself just the same. There is something like that, I murmured, as it was yet to be discovered even in my old world. There wasn't before, and there shouldn't be one now. The thing is, I managed to come up with it, but the bastard was greedy. He wanted immortality. So he decided that he would rob me of my soul and powers, consume me, and use me for the spell. He wanted to transfer my abilities onto himself, but I wasn't keen on letting him do it. Let me guess, you killed him? Worse. She smiled, looking into my eyes. I obliterated his soul. Of course, I knew my time was up, as killing an emperor is not something you can get away with, so I initiated my own reincarnation. Reincarnation? I couldn't help but repeat her words, making my soul shudder, as that was what I was going through. Is Merlin really a reincarnator too? I am talking with the proof that I may not be the only one. Exactly. It is, of course, a field that has yet to be properly investigated, and I have been studying it for multiple decades. Yet, as you can see, it is a domain that maybe only the gods have control over. Ha! You are here, are you not? Father interjected, looking at her and then at Mikan, who was just as dumbstruck as us, listening with her eyes wide open. Yes and no. She continued, what got transferred over in the end was my consciousness and mana. It was a failed reincarnation, as I should have been reborn into one of my descendants' nascent souls right after inception. I should have been starting from scratch with my mind and memories intact. Instead, I ended up waking up with Mikan here, who already had a wholly developed mind, a formed and completed soul. I just got tagged along as an extra, so I'm stuck. But. In the end, Mikan finally found her voice, trying to say something, but her thoughts were just as scrambled as her expressions. But but. Slow down. Her ancestor giggled, snapping her fingers as the golden light from her body soothed Mikan's mind. I know it is hard to get it, but that is the truth. Why do you think you are such a bad witch, failing all spells no matter what you try? You are trying to use my powers. Of course, they are not working. It's not yours to wield. It is mine. Wait a minute, I interrupted them, grasping on the core issue. You want to tell me Mikan here is not a witch, then? Yeah. She is not capable of using spells. She sometimes manages to tap into my powers when I don't pay attention, but she is not a witch. I don't know which was a bigger shock, that she had the soul of her ancestor living inside of her, or that she was not a witch. Nobody said anything for a moment, and we just watched as Mikan lowered her head and looked at her fingers, falling silent once again. I know it is hard to hear, but it is the truth. Elysienne continued, breaking the silence. I hoped you would give up on it after failing to use any spells for the past 20 years or so. But you are a stubborn girl. Well, you are my descendant, so that is to be expected. Ah ha ha. What about the old spell? Sasha asked, looking at me first before turning towards the two morning stars. Destroyed. It should not be known to anyone. She answered with a dark, cold voice, and I won't teach you. It is not something that this world needs to have. Not that we need it, I added with a smile, and to my surprise, Elysienne returned the gesture, nodding at me. My instincts are still sharp, it seems. Are you working against the Empire, yes? Otherwise, you wouldn't have a witch at your side and be using self-developed spells. Girl, how you engraved formations into stone tablets reminds me of my younger days. Ah, ah, ha, 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 ha. It is something that I did a lot as a novice. A crude, ineffective, but fun way to pursue magical knowledge. She laughed happily, saying it to Sasha, who was a bit taken aback, pointing at me. I didn't make them, she mumbled, drawing closer to me. You didn't? Then who? Are there more mages here? Only one other. And thanks, I guess. You? She looked at me, finally registering all the signals Sasha was giving her. But you are magicless. How could you? I don't believe it. Her voice was harsh at the end, feeling as if we were taking her for some amateur witch, trying to fool her. But then I recited a complex formation from one of the books in my memory. I didn't know if my pronunciation was correct or not, but her figure flickered, and the smell of vanilla intensified greatly within the room. No way, I never heard of someone magicless utter incantations. Some of it was way off, but damn, are you some kind of genius? No. Yes. Well, it was two different answers, one from me and one from Sasha, making Elysian laugh. A magicless noble and a witch, working to rebel against the Empire. Now I have a feeling I was made to arrive here. Well, we are not in open rebellion, but one day. I know it is inevitable. I can help you with that. She hurriedly stepped forward, speaking directly to me. I can give you knowledge. I know their city in and out. I know many things about the Empire and its powers. We can destroy them. Whoa, whoa. I stood up, waving my hand. Look, Miss Morningstar, I am not here to start a war. I am trying to lift my people from the mud first and foremost. Whatever comes next, I will deal with it. But I won't go and provoke a sleeping lion. I am not an idiot. Sorry, yes, I got ahead of myself. With a quick clear of her throat, she recollected herself, nodding while crossing her hand. Still, I will try to assist you. First things first, seeing the village, I will teach you how to make a proper sewer system. Then, already done. I interrupted her, and I could see she was skeptical. When our priestess recovers, you can come with me and visit my new city. I am not against ideas and a new eye critiquing my works, so feel free to do so. Ooh. To my surprise, she didn't doubt me. Instead, she looked even more interested in what I was saying, wanting to go at once. But one look at poor Maikan made it clear she was not in the best headspace right now. We will leave you two for a little. Let's talk when everyone is back to normal. Everyone agreed with me, as it was not just Mikan who had to go over a lot in her head, but us too. I was about to leave when she finally spoke up, asking me to stay a little. I didn't know what she wanted to say, but her voice was frail and thin. We will wait for you in your room. Sasha whispered to me before I was the only one remaining in the room, not including Elise, who slowly disappeared, but I knew she was still listening. I guess this was a bit too much. I didn't know what else to say to break the weird silence, making her nod. Looking at her crestfallen look, I couldn't help but feel sorry for the poor priestess. It was one thing to know you are a useless witch, but then learn you are not even one. I don't know how I would take it. What should I do? Young Viscount? Good question. I hummed, walking over and sitting down on the edge of the bed, gently reaching out and starting to stroke her head and trying to ignore the falling tears staining the sheet below her. I don't really have an answer for you, Priestess Mikan, but I do have a question for you. Who are you? Huh. With difficulty she raised her head, looking at me through her clouded eyes. Simple. Who are you? Are you your magic, or are you Mikan Morningstar? You can't use spells. So what? I cannot either, yet here I am, learning magic because I want to. It is exciting and fun. Your abilities are not what determine who you are, it is your actions that do. You told me you want to help everyone, no? Then do it. So what if you can't use magic? There are multiple ways to help people. Are you magic, or are you Priestess Mikan Morningstar? Because right now, I am stroking the head of a beautiful woman, not an incorporeal string of mana. Hey, echoed Elysian's annoyed voice, but she didn't appear this time. Thank you, young Viscount, she murmured, her tears slowly stopping rolling down her cheeks. Leon will do. You don't need to be so caught up on protocol with me. With a smile, I finally stood up from next to her, but before leaving, I had to make sure of something. Can I ask you not to report back anything you saw here? Not that my ancestor would let me, I guess. Damn right. Elysian's voice was strangely commanding. I could already feel how much she hated the Empire. Well, in her shoes, I would too. Don't worry, Leon. This priestess swears on the gods themselves to keep your secret. I thank you for that. Rest for now. Believe me, everything will be much clearer the next time you wake up. With that, I finally left her room, having a lot to go through myself.